Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Bookie Bashing. Week 15 NFL season is here. We are very excited to get at you with this action. As always, I am your host, Anthony Nikki Jr., alongside my experts, my gambling colleagues. Ace, looking good. How you feeling this week?
I'm feeling good as always, Tony. It's hard to feel too bad when your bad weeks are only a bounce away from being a winning good week. So, it's still all good over here.
And on my other side, my man, Joey Staxxx.
Going on, guys? Looking to bounce back from that 2-3 week last week. Looking at this card, we picked out 5 winners for you guys. So saddle up and get ready to ride this one out with us and get money back in the bank account.
Yeah, as Staxxx said last week, disappointing. 2-3, our first losing week in the last 2 months. We were on pace to make it 8 consecutive winning weeks last week. Of course, went into Monday night 2-2, hoping Aaron Rodgers and company could get the job done. They, of course, didn't do that. They were looking great through the first half, took the foot off the gas pedal a little bit in the second half, let Atlanta come back. They ended up backdooring us in the end. Very frustrating. But either way, 2-3 week, as we always say, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint on the season. 45-27 overall. Continue to ride us. We're going to be hitting over 60%. Going to continue to make you money, make it 3 consecutive winning weeks to end this season before we head into the NFL playoffs. People continue to ask, Tony, when are you coming out with the basketball plays? When are you going to see that college hoops action, a little NBA action? Of course, we told you last week, book the date, Christmas Day, the holiday. Going to make you some money back with all the Christmas gifts you're spending on a kid, spending on a wife. As Joey Staxxx going to have the first NBA winners on December 25th, Christmas Day. Book the date. Going to be winners for you there. And then myself, Anthony Nicky Jr., coming at you with the college plays starting in the new year. As we said, we like to see a little bit of action in basketball before we start betting on it. See what teams have what kind of chemistry. So, December 25th, NBA action, new year, starting the college basketball plays. But a lot more NFL winners before that starts. Let's not waste any more time. Love this Week 15 card. Start them off at the top.
Houston at Indianapolis.
Leading off this Week 15 card, going to head to Indianapolis as the Colts come back home, laying the 7 points against division rival the Houston Texans. Going to roll Indy here all day. Love this team for a double-digit victory here. Andy Luck and company didn't look great in Cleveland last week. Still, in the end, they get the victory, get the job done. This Colts team is really starting to put themselves in that elite category in the AFC. Now we head back home where we have covered in 20 of our last 26 home games. We play a division squad, a rivalry squad in the Houston Texans. We've covered 16 of 21 games versus the AFC South, 8 of 11 games overall for these Colts. Trent just screaming to jump on the Indianapolis team in this one. Houston comes in, Fitzpatrick at quarterback. I don't trust them. I don't trust this Houston offense at all. Besides Arian Foster, I don't see much talent there. Houston, all year we say they struggle to get consistency. 3-9 against the spread in their last 12 games following a straight-up win. They do not put back-to-back good performances together. I think Indianapolis is going to isolate J.J. Watt, stay away from him a little bit. He's the one big playmaker Houston has, and Indy's going to take control of this game. Houston's not covered in the last 4 games in Indy. 3 of those games they've lost by double digits. I think it's another double-digit loss in this one. Indy coming back home. They want to clinch that playoff spot, clinch that division this Sunday. I think they do that. Double-digit victory. Take the Colts in this one.
Yeah, when I look at this matchup, I really think of one word, folks, and that word is domination. The Colts have essentially dominated this entire series, but it hasn't just been this. They've really dominated the division. They're a perfect 11-0 in their last 11 against the spread in division. It's a team that is really clicking under Andrew Luck, and they really like to dominate their division opponents. As Tony said, Houston struggles for consistency, and I don't think Fitzpatrick fixes that problem. Houston's only getting more and more banged up, and despite being able to put a big load on Arian Foster, I really don't think that that's going to be enough to keep up with this high-powered Colts offense. It's really amazing what this Colts offense can do, is when they're at home, they're putting up 30 points, and really the defense steps up with the crowd behind it, and they don't even allow 20 points to their opponent. In fact, they're not even allowing 19. I don't think that Houston has enough firepower to keep up with the Colts this Sunday, and I think the Colts are a great value play, only laying a touchdown.
Yeah, those numbers speak for themselves. This Indianapolis Colts team absolutely dominates the division, and here they get a weak Houston Texans team whose numbers are a bit inflated thanks to J.J. Watt. As long as Andrew Luck is able to play smart, keep an eye on J.J. Watt, not let him create turnovers and affect the game, they're going to get this double-digit victory here. We have Arian Foster, who has been running well, so we're going to focus on containing him. Ryan Fitzpatrick, not a big threat in the air. That's not our concern. And we have this Indianapolis high-powered offense that is at home, and they are going to absolutely light it up as they always do. Andrew Luck, T.Y. Hilton, they are absolutely going to light up the scoreboard. Really like this Indy team here. Good spot. Division game. They put a stamp on the division here. Double-digit victory rolling.
Yeah, I think Andrew Luck and company really gets the job done at home in this one as they prove they are an elite squad in the AFC. Houston, on the other hand, proves that they are what we thought they were from the beginning of the season, a 500 football team. Take the Colts, double-digit victory here, 34-17 final.
Pittsburgh at Atlanta.
Going to continue to build on that great totals record here this season as we're going to head to Atlanta. Pittsburgh Steelers coming in. Going to roll that one to cruise over that posted total of 54. Truly love this game. One of my favorite plays of this season so far. Pittsburgh comes in. This is a team that scores a lot of points and gives up a lot of points. I've been preaching all season. It's not your old school Steelers. Run, pound the football. This team can score. Ben Roethlisberger revived his career this year. He's got a top 3 running back in Le'Veon Bell, who I've loved since he's come out of Michigan State. And I got one of the best receivers in the league in Antonio Brown on the outside. These guys put up a lot of points and they really play to the level of their competition, which is why they don't have a better record than they should have. Last week in the elements, they put up 42 points in Cincinnati. Now I go to the climate-controlled dome of Atlanta, where we're going to get even more points in this one. The Falcons, on the other hand, just scored 37 on Monday night against the Packers. I didn't expect that offense to do anything, but Matt Ryan's is having a huge connection this year with Julio Jones. The guy's got a chance to break Calvin Johnson's single-season reception yard records this year. I don't think he's going to get there, but either way, he's having a huge season. And this Atlanta offense is clicking on all cylinders. They also head back to that climate-controlled dome. I love this one to cruise over the posted total. Pittsburgh has gone over in 6 of their last 7 games overall. Atlanta, on the other hand, has gone over in 11 of 16 home games. These two teams are going to score at will. I don't expect either defense to slow down the offense whatsoever. Take this one to cruise over that posted total of 54.
In case you've been on Mars for the past few weeks. Let me tell you guys what's going on here. Pittsburgh Steelers are putting up an absurd amount of points. Ben Roethlisberger is having an absolute career year, and their defense has sucked. They let up a lot of points. Matt Ryan and company, more than capable of putting up some points here. Him and Julio Jones really been hooking up. Roddy White's no slouch either. He's showing some of his youth. I really like the fact that we're in the dome. Fast track. I really think between the two running backs running well too, nice balanced attack, there's going to be a lot of points here, and it's going to come down to the last couple of minutes. Easiest play of the week. You guys could just check it off now as a win if you want, but if you want to wait, go ahead and wait. Either way, roll that over.
Guys, there's a reason why the pros jumped on this over almost before anything else on this card. And that's because what the public doesn't know is the Falcons are going to keep this game very close. In fact, they might have a good chance of winning this game. But you just cannot trust that Atlanta Falcons team to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers or even keep it within a field goal. The thing is, you can trust the Falcons to keep up in a shootout with the Steelers and keep it within a touchdown, and I think that's exactly what they're going to do. The Steelers team has proven that they're going to put up points, as in the last 5 games they're averaging well over 30 points a game and almost 450 yards a game in that span. Meanwhile, the Falcons offense is also playing better in the last 5 games, averaging 28 points a game, and both defenses are susceptible to the pass heavily. The Steelers defense has been getting banged up all season, and they really have not had that many good showings. Meanwhile, we know the Atlanta Falcons defense does not get pressure well and really lets up some big plays. I think there's going to be some big days offensively on both sides of this ball. I think Julio and Antonio Brown could possibly each have career days. I think it's just going to be an absolute shootout, folks, so I love this over because I don't see either team stopping scoring.
Yeah, love this one to cruise over that posted element in that climate-controlled dome in Atlanta. You get 2 high-powered offenses, 2 pretty weak defenses in this one. Just great value to go over that total of 54. I think the Steelers ultimately get the job done, 37-31 final.
Tampa Bay at Carolina.
Heading out to Carolina in a big division battle as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers head in. Going to lay the 3 points with the Panthers in this one. Love this Carolina team to stay in the playoff hunt in that weak NFC South division. Public trending towards Tampa Bay after this Cam Newton back injury is going to force him out in this one. But I don't think it's Cam Newton that's the X factor in this game. It's that Panthers defense. Everyone's talking about how Carolina dominated 41-10. And the running game looked great last week in New Orleans. But how about the defense holding Drew Brees and company to just 10 points? The last NFC South division matchup they had. Before the Saints game, it was the Atlanta Falcons. They held them to 19 points. Now they head back home where the Panthers have quietly gone 10-3-1 against the spread. in their last 14 home games, 9-3 against the spread in their last 12 games versus the NFC South. Tampa Bay, on the other hand, has been awful against the NFC South. 1-5 against the spread versus the division. What does that mean? They don't get up for the big games. These two teams know each other, and it's just a game where ultimately the Carolina defense can force Tampa Bay into turnovers, into mistakes, into losing this game. On the other side of the ball, I don't think Derek Anderson's going to make the big mistake. I think he keeps the team in it. They're going to run the ball hard, and that's how Carolina will get a victory in this one. Head-to-head, the favorite is covered in 11 of 14 meetings between these two teams. Carolina's also gone 9-4 against the spread in the last 13 matchups in Carolina. I think you're getting great value here. Only laying the 3 points. It's a defensive battle in this one. Not necessarily pretty, but ultimately the Panthers get the job done. Lay the 3 at home.
Folks, this is the definition of a value play to me, because the Carolina Panthers are a much better team than these lousy Buccaneers are. They prove it time in, time out in this matchup too, as Carolina has not only covered the last 3 matchups, but 5 of the last 7. Now, I'm usually not a big believer in historical monthly trends for teams, but this one is just too big to ignore. The Buccaneers in December are only 10-26-1 against the spread. Meanwhile, the Panthers are 23-11 against the spread in December. I really think that the Panthers put it together and that there's just a huge public overreaction to the shocking Cam Newton injury. And I don't think the public realizes that Derek Anderson can be a perfectly fine quarterback for 1 or 2 games, especially when you're going up against a Tampa Bay defense that has just looked terrible most of the season. I think that trend continues for the Buccaneers defense, and that Derek Anderson can put together a nice game. I find a lot of value in this garbage can game this Sunday, and I love the Panthers to cover that 3.
This Carolina team, great game last week, a nice big win in New Orleans. They're going to want to rally around Derek Anderson and get one for Cam. This is a team that really loves and respects Cam Newton as their leader, and the past few weeks that running game has really been coming alive. Jonathan Stewart looks like he's healthy again. He's running like a freak show. I really think that this Carolina Panthers team is going to play a great, fundamentally sound game and try and get one for Cam. They're playing a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team who has just really not looked good. Running back issues have been a huge problem as they really can't find a back to produce there. And other than Mike Evans, who's having a Rookie of the Year season, there's not much going on with that team. They're really struggling. No signs of life. And I really think this should be a little bit of a shocker to the public who thinks they can't win without Cam Newton. So roll these Panthers.
Yeah, I think Carolina stays in that playoff hunt here in the weak NFC South in this one. Like Joey Staxxx said, I think that Derek Anderson's going to manage this game at home. This could come down to who makes the big mistake. I think McCown's proved it to me time and time again that he's the one to make it. Backup quarterback making starter money doesn't mean it's going to give you a victory. Take the Panthers. Defense plays well in this one. 24-10 final.
San Francisco at Seattle.
Another big interdivision matchup here is the Seattle Seahawks head back home, laying the 10 points. San Francisco comes in. Going to lay the 10 here with the Hawks, as I think we get an easy double-digit victory in this one. Russell Wilson and that offense starting to really look like the Super Bowl champs they were last year. Him and Marshawn Lynch have a running dynamic that's better than almost any combo in the NFL. Pair that with a couple decent weapons at receiver, but really when it comes down to it, they win on defense. And this defense has been shutting down everybody. Last week, headed to Philly and stopped a high-powered offense that Chip Kelly has been torching everybody with. San Fran, on the other hand, has gone the opposite way. 2-5 against the spread in the last 7 games overall. 1-4 against the spread versus the division, the NFC West, the big primetime games, the teams that know them. It's obvious that Harbaugh is going to be out of a job next season. Colin Kaepernick, fans are burning his jerseys. He's looked horrible. Nothing like the quarterback that led the Niners to back-to-back NFC Championship games. The offense, non-existent. I think really they are going to struggle big time in Seattle, where the Seahawks have covered in 35 of their last 52 home games. 4 or 5 games overall, 4 or 5 games versus the division against the NFC West. Head-to-head, the Niners haven't covered in 5 of their last 6 meetings in Seattle and the last 6 meetings overall. The Seahawks have dominated this matchup head-to-head. They've won 4 of the last 5 contests overall, 3 of those games by at least 16 points. I think they're going to beat up this Niners team in this one. They're trying to get the best record in the NFC. They're trying to catch these Arizona Cardinals. They want this one. I think the Niners quitting a little bit on Coach Harbaugh take Seattle to cruise to a double-digit victory.
I don't know how anyone could like these San Francisco 49ers this season, especially in this spot here. They're playing against the 12th man in Seattle, where Seattle has been notoriously dominant, and they've also owned this head-to-head matchup, winning 4 out of the last 5 games this year, like Tony told you. Just a great spot for these Seahawks, and an ugly situation for these San Francisco 49ers, as they have to come in here They're a little banged up. Colin Kaepernick hasn't been that guy that took us to the NFC Championship game 2 years ago, and it's going to show here. This Seattle defense is going to absolutely eat this team up, and offensively, you just got to love Marshawn Lynch here. An absolute workhorse, pounding that football. Russell Wilson has looked great and made work with his receivers that he does have. I really like these Seahawks to win by double digits at home.
Yeah, this game is one that Vegas is really tempting you to take those 10 points with the San Francisco 49ers. It's the type of game that they want to see if you're going to bet with your head or your heart, because your heart tells you that San Francisco should be able to cover the 10 points. In fact, that's the most points that they've gotten since Harbaugh's been the coach, and your heart wants to say that they are not as bad as they have shown. But the numbers just say elsewhere. And if you really look into it, your head will tell you that the smart money is on Seattle, folks. They have not only dominated this series, like Tony said, but Colin Kaepernick has not just been bad, he's been horrendous. Since week 11, on passes 15 yards or deeper, he's only completed 17% of those passes. Folks, that is bad. That's cost your job kind of bad, because he's not running the ball like he did his first season starting either. Now he has to go up against a Seattle defense that over the last 5 weeks has been tougher on quarterbacks than any other defense. And that is a significant gap also. They've been a much better pass defense than any other team in the last month. I just don't see how things are going to get better for San Francisco when they go into a tough place to play in Seattle. And they're facing a Seahawks team that gets more yards than them, allows less yards on defense, gets more points offensively, controls the clock better, and on top of that, they're even better in the red zone. They are just going to smoke the San Francisco 49ers. I don't even know if San Francisco is going to get any points this weekend. I love the Seahawks. Forget how many points we're laying and just bet Seattle.
Yeah, big matchup here for these Hawks as they come back home laying the 10 points. They cruise to a double-digit victory in this one versus the Niners. Seahawks, 27-9 final.
Dallas at Philadelphia.
Coming at you prime time, Sunday night here as we continue to hit on these total plays. Head to Philadelphia. Cowboys coming in, playing for the NFC East title. Love this one to cruise over the posted total of 55 in this one. I'm getting two high-powered offenses with something to prove here. Tony Romo and company had that disappointing performance against these Eagles on Thanksgiving, having only put up 10 points. But then they came into Chicago last week, dropped 42. I expect them to put up big numbers in Philly on Sunday. Dallas has gone over in their last 5 games on the road. Now they head to Philly, who also has something to prove on offense. Everybody right now off of Mark Sanchez after that awful performance last week against the Seattle Seahawks. But I got a newsflash, folks. The Seahawks are clicking on all cylinders. Tough defense. This is not the same defense. Dallas has been exploited before by this Chip Kelly offense. I think they're going to have it happen again on Sunday night. Eagles put up 33 against them on Thanksgiving. I think a lot of things are going to continue to click for these Eagles as they put up points following disappointing games. They've gone over in their last 5 games following a straight-up loss. 5 of 7 games have gone over at home. This Eagles offense just clicks more at home. They put up points. And Chip Kelly, this offense does not get shut down for 2 consecutive weeks. I'm getting a weak secondary in Dallas that I think Mark Sanchez can pick apart. I'm getting a weak secondary in Philadelphia that I think Tony Romo can exploit. Just leads the points here as both of these teams are going to be battling for that NFC East title. Can't help but become a shootout on primetime Sunday night. Take this one to cruise over the posted total of 55.
This game is absolutely huge, and Philadelphia is going to be up for it. These fans are going to be going crazy. It's going to be loud. It's going to be rocking, and these Eagles are going to fly high. A tough spot last week for them. Seattle Seahawks come in and just play lockdown defense. Now we have a much softer Dallas defense coming in. I agree with what Tony said. Garrett may try and run it early, but at some point this game is going to turn into a shootout. It's inevitable, folks. And we are going to see a lot of points on both sides of the football. You know, Sanchez, after only scoring 14 last week, he's going to come out. Chip Kelly's going to put together some nice play calling here, and we are going to absolutely fly over this posted total.
Yeah, I absolutely love this over. I think it's one of the easiest picks this entire weekend. Now, for the people thinking Mark Sanchez is starting to enter a downward spiral, I'd say back off of the guy a second. It's really just a matter of matchups when it comes to Mark Sanchez. And this week, I think he is a tremendous matchup look for the play-action pass to really be a huge factor for the Eagles to put up a lot of points. Sanchez has completed 69% of his play-action passes this season, with 6 touchdowns and 1 interception on them. And one of the reasons is that he brings the mobility aspect. Not only do defenses have to watch his legs now, but they inevitably have to watch the ever-so-dangerous LaShawn McCoy. Meanwhile, the Dallas defense has allowed more touchdowns than any other team to the play-action pass. I'm expecting a huge day for Jeremy Maclin, a huge day for Jordan Matthews, because the Dallas defense is going to have to look in that backfield. Now, the Dallas offense is not only going to have to keep up with the Philly offense, but they're just going to do what they always do on the road, which is score points. They put up an average of almost 33 points when they're on the road. And the Philly offense puts up that same 33 points when they're at home. Romo, who's proven that he's fully healthy, is going to be able to hook up with all of his big targets, probably except Jason Witten. I think Cowboys fans would be pretty shocked to know that Jason Witten hasn't caught a touchdown pass in the last 7 Eagle-Cowboy games. But when you put that aside, I think every other target is going to have a really big game. And I also think this is just going to be an absolute shootout. And it's going to be really fun to watch on a primetime stage. There's no way this game doesn't fly over, folks.
Yeah, I think you're going to get a shootout here on Sunday Night Primetime. 2 high-powered offenses with something to prove. NFC's title on the line here. Both these teams going to have something to play for. Eagles, I think, ultimately get the job done in this one. 38-34 final. So that will wrap things up for this Week 15 NFL card. Love these 5 games. Going to continue to build on this winning season here as we are hitting at 45-27 as an overall record. Of course, last week, the disappointing 2-3 weekend, but that was our first losing week in the last 2 months. Before that, 7 straight winning weeks. We are going to continue to build on these winning seasons. Let's make it 3 straight winning weeks to go into the playoffs and get hot before we make a big run in this NFL playoffs. For this Week 15 card that we love, leading things off in Indy. They lay 7 as the Houston Texans come in. I think this Colts offense dominates, puts up a lot of points in this one. Double-digit victory, 34-17 final. Building on our great total play record this week as we love the over in Atlanta. Climate-controlled dome. Pittsburgh comes in. This one has to cruise over 54, and I think it does here. A slugfest, 37-31 final. Pittsburgh ultimately gets the job done. Heading to Carolina, a big division matchup for the Panthers. They try to stay in the hunt for the playoffs in the weak NFC South. Laying 3 points, I think the defense ultimately wins the game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 24-10 final in that one. Then we take things to Seattle as the Hawks lay 10, big division matchup versus the Niners. Story of 2 teams trending in opposite directions as the Niners have looked horrible. Seattle starting to come on, looking like the defending Super Bowl champs that they are. They dominate this one, 27-9 final. Easy double-digit victory as we lay the 10 points. Then, Sunday Night Primetime, finishing with a total play. We just continue to win these totals. Might as well continue to hit them for you. Dallas heading into Philly for the NFC East lead, the division, to have a stranglehold on the division before the playoffs come around. These 2 offenses both have something to prove. Eagles looked bad last week. Dallas looked bad against Philly on Thanksgiving. I think it's a slugfest versus 2 weak secondaries. Take this one to cruise over that posted total of 55. 38-34 final to finish off this 5-0 sweep of Week 15. Love these 5 games here. We are going to continue to run this marathon for you, as we say, the NFL season. Continue to build on that 45-27 overall record. Continue to give you winners here as we love these 5 games. Let's make it 3 straight winning weeks to end the NFL season before these playoffs. And of course, we have told you, NBA just around the corner. Joey Staxxx, book it. Christmas Day, December 25th, your first NBA winners of the season. And then myself, I will come at you with the college basketball plays coming into the new year. But until then, a lot more football to win. Let's continue to build up these bankrolls and make money and make it a great holiday for the family. For my experts, Mr. Ace Berg and Joey Staxxx, I'm your host, Anthony Nikki Jr., telling you as always to have a great weekend, continue making that money, and we will see you here next time at www.bookiebashingats.com.